Command Center access granted. Welcome to the Command Center, Captain. Engaging forward control panel.
Hello, welcome aboard. And glad to have you here. Whether you are joining me on Twitch or on YouTube, happy to have you here as we get rolling tonight. And tonight we just want to kind of talk game dev. Keep things light, keep things simple, and welcome folks into the conversation. And that means if you have an interest in joining the conversation, you can do that in a number of ways. First of all, just by entering your chat, your comments, your questions, your thoughts. But in addition to that, if you're here on the Twitch side, you'll see that I have call-ins opened up. And so you can just click on that above the chat where it says call in. And it will enable you to actually join the stream. I can put you through on here on screen so you can talk to us rather than type in chat. So if that's something that interests you, reach out that way and we'll do that. So yeah, welcome in. Let's see. Let me set up. Let's add over here. Let's put that up. I think we can add our chat to overlay in our monitor since we're kind of going to be just chatting and talking. Want to do that? That sounds like a good idea. Maybe we should also, I don't know, should we go to dark mode? I kind of like dark mode. I don't know. I don't know how anybody else feels about that. Let's try it. Oh, here we go. Turn off the lights. So welcome in. If you haven't been here before, my name is Vale, and I am part of, I pretty much am Golden Character Design. And I don't know, just appreciate the people who are gathering here as part of a community and supporting what we are doing. And we're trying to grow that community even more and make nights like tonight where we're just kind of talking about game dev into something a little bit bigger. We'd like to bring in guests to engage in the conversation, people in the industry who can share different thoughts and perspectives, and we can just sort of toss around different topics in a safe environment for a group of developers or other interested parties in kind of like, hey, what's going on behind the scenes of game dev? That's sort of the idea, at least for tonight. We got other activities on other nights. For example, on Friday nights, we do our Game Jelly, not your typical game jam, where we have a group of us that are developing a game online, on stream, I should say, live on stream.
An officer has arrived in Command Center.
Welcome in, Abomination. Good to have you. How are you? Hope you are well. Game Jelly is fun. We get to see the game being developed all the way from concept to completion. If you want to see any of the sessions that you may have missed, you can check that out on the YouTube side. If you're over there on the YouTube, you should be able to see those videos. If you're on the Twitch side, the most current ones are going to be here for 2 weeks, and then we'll put them on YouTube. So I am good. Thank you for asking. Game Jelly is fun, isn't it? It's pretty cool. And then on Saturdays, we look to bring in special guests, other game developers to talk about and show off their products, their games that they're working on developing, get to know those games and those developers a little bit more. So those are always fun as well. We've got all kinds of things that we want to start gearing up to doing. On this Wednesday night, I would really like to start getting more into just kind of talking about industry topics and game dev topics, and really trying to engage the community and the group in discussion. So it starts with just folks participating, throwing your comments and questions in there, and inviting other folks to come in and join us. And we'll work on it slowly but surely. I know that, it's a small community right now, but each and every one of you are valued and appreciated. Yeah, great call out there, Abomination. Anybody watching who would like to get their game, that maybe if you're developing something, or maybe you're an artist, like an artist, a musician, 3D modeler, a composer, voice talent, whatever it might be, we'll feature your work as well. Reach out, let us know that you're interested, and we can put together a session featuring you and your work. We love doing that. So, as part of growing this game dev community, indeed. All right. I'm going to do my best to keep my eyes on everything here. So I've got, just in order to be able to see the chat and the options for engaging with you guys, I literally have 3 monitors covered. So if I don't respond or see right off the bat, please be patient, or reach out and chat, say something, and we'll get to you. So again, if you want to join on screen, you can click the call-in button on the Twitch side, and we can put you on camera here even, right? Why not? Otherwise, just, hey, welcome in and let's talk. How's your week to start off with? Let's just start with simple. Hope everybody is doing good.
How are you doing? Oh, no. How you doing? What? How you doing?
Yeah. And our topic tonight, busy week, but good. Good to hear, Abomination. It's been a little weird for me, kind of busy and calming down at the same time, with going back and forth with Pandemonium puzzle approvals and disapprovals. Just lots of trying to get updates pushed and everything. But we do have an update approved now on both Google Play and the App Store if you want to try out that new game, for anybody who doesn't already have it. The topic tonight that I thought I would throw out there is like, what platforms do people play on these days? And it's such an open question. There are so many different platforms. There's so many different things we can talk about. But I'm thinking we can even pull some numbers or so forth. But I'd love to hear what you guys think from your own personal experience or perspective when it comes to, like, PC versus mobile versus console games. I'm curious about things like when people are console players. So, for example, Xbox or PlayStation. Obviously those are kind of the big two these days, right? Do you own both? Do you play both, or are you glued to one? If you're a PC gamer, do you also play mobile games, or do you tend to be one or the other? It's just sort of some interesting questions to throw out there. And,
An officer has arrived in command center.
Hey, welcome in, Ludum. Good to have you here tonight. Welcome to the party. Here we go. Give you the official.
Welcome to the party, pal.
Incoming transmission from archived footage.
Boom, 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 boom. Water, water. What can you do with water? You need water for the dishes, water for your hair, water for the fishes, and water for the clothes that you wear. Boom, 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 boom.
All right. Thank you for the hydrate. Cheers to you. All right. Doing good, doing good. Hope you are well as well. Welcome in. We're just talking game dev, and the big question I'm throwing out to folks tonight is what kind of platforms do you play on? We were just talking about Pandemonium Puzzle, newly released on mobile, so you can play on a tablet, you can play on your phone. Working on a whole bunch of projects that are PC based that are most likely going to be released through Steam. And then, there's tons of other options out there. How many people are playing on Xbox and PlayStation? If you own one, do you own both? I'm just curious, what everybody has got their hands on these days, device wise. Are you a gamer who plays across all kinds of different platforms so that you can play games when you're sitting at home on your computer, and you play different ones when you're in front of your TV, and different ones when you're commuting? Hopefully you're not driving and playing games, but all of that. Very, very curious. So Ludum says PC, PlayStation, Nintendo for me. Now, when you say Nintendo, what kind of Nintendo are we talking about here? I have my handheld emulator if I want to get back into old school games that are not on the Switch. Okay, so Switch. There we go. I gotcha. Okay. Who else has got anything similar or different? I don't feel like making time for games these days, sadly, so mostly mobile here. Okay. Oh, that's too bad. I hear you. I mean, it's good in a sense. I know you did a lot of PC gaming previously, right? Let's see. Yeah. You know, it's interesting. Like I wanted to get a console really bad just because I felt like I was sort of missing out, and I got one in here. I got a used machine in, but I'm sort of like I messed around with it the day I got it, and that's about it. I'm always glued to my computer, so I'm very much PC, almost exclusively these days. Tons of PC games, so forth. So for me, PC and Nintendo, yeah. Get a Switch. Who, me? Switch 2 in a few weeks. Yeah. That's a big investment from what I understand. I don't know. For somebody who hasn't been able to make it into the other room to play on my, I don't even know what I have. Is it a PlayStation? I may have to get up and go look at some point. I'm not even positive. Right? But I mostly got it so I could kind of mess around with, as a game developer, I like the idea, like one thing that has bugged me is that I'm not really familiar with a lot of games using controllers. I've played some over the years, but as far as, I'm definitely not an expert with console games with controllers. And so just thinking about, setting up, input settings, user settings with different types of controllers and so forth. Like even just thinking about something that's cross-platform between mobile and PC, the difference between using your mouse, using your finger, you have to, there's some of it's pretty straightforward and pretty universal, but some of it absolutely not. You know, like with a PC, you're going to create a lot of interactable things, you know, a lot of animations and other things with things like mouse over. So that as you're moving your mouse and you go over a button, you can have it light up and animate and do all kinds of fun things. So you can make your screen very interactive, even without selecting anything, just that movement. But on a mobile device, you can't do that because obviously it can't detect, you know, where your mouse is over. And so some different things there. And I know when you start going into console, it's even different. And so I wanted to have one just so I could kind of experiment with different controller setups and input settings and so forth on down the line when I start heading in that direction. Ludum says, deep down, I'm a console gamer. I can't sit at my PC without wanting to work these days. Oh, I get that. I've had that problem myself where I go to play a game, I'll open up a game and, you know, I'm like, you know, I could be sitting here working on one, you know? Which is where Exiles Eden comes in, right? The game that just sits at the bottom of your screen so that you can work on something and still play a game at the same time. You get the best of both worlds, right? So, yeah. That's right. All right. So shout out to Ludum, the game designer for Exiles Eden, and he's also the 3D modeler for Golden Character Design projects like Floral Studio. He's also he did the some of the coins that you see in Pandemonium Puzzle. And, of course, a ton of work on our Game Jelly project on Friday nights. So, yeah. All right. So, anybody else? What consoles or what platforms, what devices do you all use and play on? And I'm curious, like, okay, with Switch. So, since you guys are Switch players, is that something that you take with you everywhere, or is it something that you take with you to certain environments, certain places? Like, what to you is the right situation to take the Switch? Because that's the whole appeal to a Switch, right? Is the portability. At least that's my understanding. So. I've really only taken it on trips. Okay. The problem with that is you're in danger of breaking it, right? If you trip and fall and it hits the floor, you know, I'm sorry. I know that's not what you meant. That's a bad dad joke there. I play in bed sometimes, don't really take it anywhere aside from trips. All right, so you both the same way, you use it to go on like trips and so forth, and then yeah, in bed. That's the only time I really play mobile games these days, and even then I rarely do that. Is just kind of hanging in bed, but I haven't in a while. It's same reasons you were just talking about, Ludum. It's like I value my time programming so much that it's hard to just sit and spend time playing. So as soon as I get in bed, I'm ready to get my sleep so I can get up early and get back to the programming. It's tough. I take Sundays off from work, and even Sundays are difficult for me to not code. So a lot of times what I find myself doing on a Sunday, since it's my day off, is I code the games that aren't priorities, the ones that are sort of like fun dreams that are on down the line, since, you know, I don't have to feel bad about not getting work done on that day. I like to start off my day and end my day with gaming, so having it be mobile around the house is nice. That makes sense. That makes sense. I get that. Um, so does the Switch, like these days, has that sort of taken away from, or is it replacing the console in a sense, or do you feel like the console has its time and place and the Switch has its time and place? um, and I'd love anybody's thoughts on this. Anybody at all, feel free to chime in. Welcome in, welcome in. Anybody who's just joining us, if you'd like to literally join us, you can hit the call in button on the Twitch side and be able to join us video right here. I can put you on one of these other monitors next to me here, and you can join in the conversation that way. If you want to stick to chat, that's just fine. You can do chat on either side, YouTube or Twitch, and of course you can just lurk, hang out. We appreciate the support. You still consider it a console, just evolved to be allowed to be played whenever, wherever. Okay, all right. So I'm gonna ask a silly question because I feel like this is probably something you guys are gonna think I should know, but I've never had a Switch. I'm only vaguely familiar with them. So, are they internet based where you have your games in the cloud and you're playing through an internet connection, or are they more of like cartridge based, kind of like the old days, or like a Game Boy or whatever? Like I'm trying to picture which direction it goes. Cartridge or save to the console itself. Okay, so you're buying hard copies of the game. They're online catalog games you need internet for. So they have both. So it's both, is what I'm hearing. Yeah, you can do either. Okay. All right, cool. Got it. Very cool, very cool.
An officer has arrived in command center.
Welcome in. Glad to see you, Royal Pain. Welcome to the conversation. We're talking tonight about devices, platforms. What different platforms do you use? Have you seen trends with? Does anybody, speaking of like Ludum, I know earlier you were saying that you have your emulator, handheld emulator, for old school games. What does it emulate? Old Nintendo? I'm wondering, does anybody else have old school console stuff? Anybody still using things like, I don't know, that are outdated, kind of gone away, things like those original Nintendo consoles, or I don't know, Atari, Wii? Anybody still using any of those, or are those disappearing? Royal Pain, you have an Atari? Nice. I saw them several years back, a few years back. They were selling like a new simplified Atari, modeled after the old OG. It was tempting. It was really tempting, I gotta say, almost. You have like 10,000 games on. Is that the emulator you're talking about? It has Nintendo from the NES to N64, arcade games, Sega from the Master System to Dreamcast, PS1, WonderSwan, etc. So it's a cross-platform, this emulator. That's interesting. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. That sounds really awesome. I remember one time I bought an old Macintosh computer just so that I could play a game from my childhood. That was it. It was the only reason I had it, was just to play this game. And I eventually ended up getting an emulator on my Windows system that would run the game, but I don't know, something about it, it just wasn't the same. It wasn't the same. So yeah. So I'm curious, while we're on here talking about it, let's see. Let's do a little. Let's see. Had an experience like that with one of my favorite childhood games. Which one was it? I'm curious. Let's see. Let's do. Bum. There we go. To here. And let's just ask. There we go. Let's see. It was literally called Third Grade Adventures. Nice. Yeah, the old Mac game that I used to play was called Strategic Conquest. I loved that game. I still think about it to this day. Like, it is like burned into my brain, and I just, even when I'm designing things these days, my mind goes back to that game, and just how much I loved that game. Especially anytime I'm thinking about like AI for your opponent, your enemy controls, pathfinding, and all that kind of stuff. I always think back to the old Strategic Conquest game. All right, let's see. I'm gonna do some lookups here. This is totally how I feel about Third Grade Adventures. Yeah, nice. How about anybody else out there? Got any old games that you've bought a platform or a device just so you could play one specific game? Maybe it's even a new one. Maybe it's the new system that's coming out, the Switch 2, and you're like, I only care about one game. I don't know. I'm curious. Let's see. Boom. It's crazy. That's like every console. There's always at least one to start. I don't know. I mean, I hear you. Back in the day, this is going to date me, so it's a good thing we're in commercials, so most of the people who don't know me, can't judge too harshly. I'm just kidding. But, back with Atari, the old OG, like, it was never about one game. That was one thing that was so cool about it, is that it was so many games. I could spend a whole day playing Asteroids, but then I could spend the whole day playing Missile Command, or I could spend the day playing, there was so many good games. Those jump to mind because I think I played those a lot. a lot. But yeah, it was cool. Oh, what was that one called? There was one River Raider or something like that. I can't even remember. Right now, we're running a commercial for anybody in commercial for Civ 7 VR. There's another, that right there. We're talking about devices, we're talking about different types of platforms. And we just saw the commercial for Civ 7 VR. And so that's another one I've been curious about is like, is VR growing? I mean, obviously it is, but to what extent? You know, is there anybody here in our group watching tonight who's gotten into the VR side of things, tried that out? What kind of do the modern consoles have the compatibility to just switch into that? Are you able to take like your new PlayStation and I and just convert it into a VR machine essentially? I don't know. I should know this, but I don't. I bought a PS2 for Legend of Dragoon, and then Xbox for Morrowind. Wow, nice. So that kind of goes back to one of my original questions. So you have a PS2 and an Xbox. So, like, is that pretty common? Like, I feel like a lot of folks do both. Or is it more common, I wonder, to get one as opposed to the other? I'm sure you guys don't know the answer to this because I'm sure there's cases of, all different situations there. But PlayStation has their own VR headsets, yeah. Ludum also loves Legend of Dragoon and Morrowind. Nice. So, a couple key points while we're talking about this stuff. I'm just Googling while we're talking, so it's not like I'm this, have this incredible knowledge. But according to industry data from 2024, over 2.8 billion people worldwide play games on mobile devices, which represents more than half of all gamers globally, making mobile gaming the largest segment of the gaming industry by user base. So mobile gaming is actually number one when it comes to platform, which is crazy, but it's just so readily accessible, I think, these days is a big. Mobile gaming revenue for 2023 was estimated at around 90 to 100 billion dollars. That's B, billion. Making it the top earning platform compared to consoles and PCs. So, yeah, very interesting. Back in the day, there were more of a PlayStation versus Xbox versus Nintendo console wars. Yeah, for sure. You don't feel like that goes on anymore? Like, has that day come and gone? I've always thought of it as like a, PlayStation versus Xbox versus Nintendo. That whole, yeah. I mean, that's the way it's always been kind of the Chevy Ford debate, I always feel with the way gaming companies are releasing cross-platform games, it's not as important as it used to be. Yeah, now, they're even releasing it in those competitor consoles, right? Like, a lot of the newer games are released on PlayStation and Xbox. Is that correct? I think, I think there are some that are exclusive, and then there's others that are across them, if I'm not mistaken. I think a lot of people own more than one, definitely. Once cross platform kicked in, the lines were blurred hard and quick. Yeah, that makes sense. Mobile phones and handhelds are so powerful now that you can play so much, for sure. I mean, it's true. The mobile devices come along. It was like consoles were kind of the leader, because they were dedicated gaming devices. But PC technology and mobile phone technology have just, gone so far, so fast. And so it's almost, in a sense, like they're leaving the consoles behind. The consoles are getting better, and the graphics are there. Those, because there's still those dedicated systems, so you get the highest end graphics you can, but um, the ease and the convenience of these mobile systems, and now stuff like Switch is definitely making creating new opportunities, creating new let's see. It's so funny, you almost never play games on your phone. Pandemonium was an obvious exception. Well, thank you. Thank you. Appreciate the exception. Um, I've used to play quite a bit of games on my phone. It was just so easy, um, to be able to kind of pick up and put down. Like on a computer or a console, you're sort of locking yourself into playing. I think from my perspective, that's one of the cool things about mobile, is that it's very easy to play games that are geared to just sort of, especially like idle games, stuff like that, where you can set it down, pay attention to other stuff, pick it back up, play for a few minutes. Puzzle games, idle games, cozy games. Those types of things do really well on mobile because you're not having to dedicate the time to it. When you're in a PC or a console, you're sitting down for the intent to play games. And so you're not going to sit there, if you're setting aside devoted time to play a game, you're not going to sit there on your little phone, you know. So I think that's one of the big distinctions, there. Yeah, when Steam got big, I think it took me away from feeling like I needed. Oh, sorry, I skipped. First of all, Ludum was commenting about Long Gone Now with cross-platform and almost zero games exclusivity. Wow, there's no point in the wars anymore. I didn't realize it was that few. I assumed that those consoles were still fighting for exclusivity with certain titles to be able, like Switch 2. Aren't they promoting it like with a big, huge title? Is it with Mario? I'm not sure. I feel like those companies would be fighting for exclusivity there to be able to kind of get that initial new thing sold, maybe. But Nintendo is the only one with exclusivity, actually. Okay, yeah. So let's see. Going back, Royal Pain said, when Steam got big, then I think it took me away from feeling like I needed to buy another system to play something specific. That makes sense. Yeah. Personally, I feel like the physical ownership of the console is my way of collecting something. So eventually, I will have them all displayed, and probably still mainly use PC. That I get that, but I feel like we're starting to get away from that. Like it's that way with my DVDs. I was so into kind of building up that DVD set, collection of movies and TV series and so forth. But now It's so easy and so convenient to just stream and get, video on demand that the DVDs are almost becoming archaic. It's sort of it's sort of tough to get away from that, and you see that even on these consoles like the PlayStation and Nintendo and stuff, where you're just connecting online and accessing a library. I mean, even Steam, even the PC games, where as opposed to having the disc that you're loading into your computer, those days are gone. And now your library is completely online, and you're installing the base game on your PC, and then you're connecting to it through a platform like Steam. It's I don't know, it's different. It's a digital world for sure. Nintendo, okay, yeah, they're so into exclusivity, so that was implied. Uh, Final Fantasy used to be Nintendo exclusive with Square only back in the early mid 90s, then went to Squaresoft, then was PlayStation exclusive all the way up to Final Fantasy 13. Yeah, it's definitely a convenience thing. Yeah, it's for sure. Like, it's nice to not. I loved the idea of having a physical collection. Like, again, for me, it wasn't necessarily games, because I haven't had a real console with a game collection since I was, a kid, pretty much. A teenager. But my DVDs, that collection, I liked having that physical collection, but it's becoming so dated and so tedious, and now it just takes up space. You're just having to have all this space chewed up in your home for something that can all be readily available at the touch of a button. I don't know. It's interesting. Well, for anybody who's joined us here, we're just talking about devices, different platforms on which you play games, and kind of in general. Talked about mobile devices still being the number one, believe it or not, and just talking about a lot of different aspects of cross-platform and competition between platforms and convenience and all that kind of thing. Just curious to know how everybody's, what your guys' experience are, perspectives are, thoughts are, when, you guys are talking about the new Switch 2. So, when a new console comes out, whether it's Nintendo, Xbox, Switch, or PlayStation, whatever it might be, when it comes out, are you guys always considering it? Like, as a gamer, do you say, hey, there's a new console coming out, ooh, should we get into that, should we get that one, and you're checking it out stat wise, you're checking out previews of it, or is it sort of like, it's another PlayStation, I don't know, like, do you only look at it when a certain game is released for it? I've bought every Nintendo console day one since the Super Nintendo. Nice. Well, that answers that question. At least for Nintendo. So you're kind of brand specific there, huh? It's like some Apple folks, Oh, the new iPhone is out. I'm buying it. I stood in line for the Wii 25 hours for pre-order. Wow. And then 18 for release. I wanted to get a Wii. I know. Laugh at Grandpa, but I wanted to get a Wii, and I don't mean back then. I mean like within these last couple of years, I've wanted to get a Wii and have it here in the home. I feel like what better exercise than playing games on the Wii? I feel like it would be a great exercise routine. Nintendo was smart with their platform, though. They took control of being the handheld kings of gaming and actually improved it continually. Yeah, yeah. I don't have a giant Nintendo tattoo for nothing. So you I got you. All right. Like die hard Nintendo. I got it. All right. That's intense. Which is why you need a Switch. You need the portability so that you can play your game in a tent outside instead of plugging it in. You know, you need to be able to go and play in tents. Sorry, another dad joke. All right. I'll never forget my roots. Very cool. All right. Well, if anybody is interested, feel free to join us here on stream. I can throw you up, not throw you up. I can put you on one of these monitors next to me if you'd like to join the stream. If you just got to be over here on the Twitch side and hit the little call-in button, and we can add you up in here. I'll never forget when Game Boy came out. That was a life changer for gamers. Game Boy. Was Game Boy kind of the first mobile gaming device? My parents hated AA batteries. That's pretty good. See, I'm so old that stuff like Game Boy was like, you know, that's more my kids than it is my generation. All parents did. That's good stuff. All right, let's see. Interesting. So, let's see. Wanting the magnifying speaker attachments with the light so you can play in the dark since it wasn't backlit. I remember going into every room and being shocked I could play something anywhere I wanted. So, here's an interesting little factoid. That Game Boy was the most influential early handheld, coming out in 1989, but it was not the first. The first ever portable video game, I do remember those. See, I do remember those back in my day. I'd forgotten about them. Where you'd buy the actual game. You didn't have cartridges that you could swap out. But the first portable video game was the Mattel Auto Race. The ones that I remember, that was 76. The ones that I remember were the football game. Did you guys ever, I don't know if you've ever seen those, maybe in old movies or something, but I used to have one of those, the old football game with the little keypad where you moved the football player up and down. There was another one too, similar to that. Oh, what was it? Man, I can't remember. But the first handheld console with cartridges was the Microvision from Milton Bradley, which came out in 1979. So that was the first portable gaming console, was Microvision, which was 10 years ahead of the Game Boy. I did not know that. So, yeah. Very interesting. Just throwing that out there because that makes me sound super knowledgeable, even though all I did was look it up. I'm not trying to put on a front. My parents lied to me. The outrage. That's funny. All right, let's see. Estimated number of players on Steam. Let's check that. I used to want to teach the history of the game industry, more so the history of gaming. Very cool. So then you should have known that, right? Did you know that about the whole Microvision? I don't know. You did know that. All right. Yeah. Nice. All right. So let's check on Steam. As of 2024, Steam has an estimated 132 million active users monthly and over 30 million active users daily. Peak concurrent users is frequently over 33 million, with all-time highs continuing to grow. So, yeah. Steam is the largest digital distribution platform for PC gaming. Yep, that's a given. There are over 50,000 games available on Steam. To be honest, that sounds low to me. Yeah. All right, so. I used to study game history hardcore. Cool. That's really low. There's like 10K released a month these days. Yeah, there's a ton. 10K a month might be a little high, but there are a ton for sure. For sure. Yes, it is a lot. Let's see. As of early 2024, anybody have a guess? No point in me doing it that way because you guys can just look it up just like I'm looking it up. 1.5 billion video game consoles have been sold worldwide across different generations and manufacturers. Anybody care to guess without looking it up? So we'll make this super short. What is the number one all-time selling as of 2024? The number one top selling all-time console. Anyone want to throw out their guess really fast? Don't look it up. That's too easy. Bum, bum, bum. Specific console. Switch is number 3. Xbox 360 is number 8. Any more guesses? Royal Pain hasn't thrown out a guess. Does that mean he's looking it up? Golden Tee. What is that? PlayStation 4 is number 4. Deer Hunter. What? All right. Number 1 all-time selling top console, specific console, PS2. PS2. Yep. Approximately 158 million sales. Followed closely, right on its heels, Nintendo DS in second. Switch is third, PS4 is fourth. Now again, this was as of 2024, so this doesn't count any sales for this year and probably the end of last year as well. So, but I would imagine PS4 is not going to climb anymore because PS5's out. So if you're going to buy the new PlayStation, you know, so yeah. You must not have insured Legend of Trek. What? Played. I never did. I don't know it. Here's the thing. I know I'm going to get a lot of grief for this one. But I've personally never owned any of these consoles. My kids have owned one or two, but I personally have never owned any of these. None that are on this list. Yeah, the only console I ever owned was the original Atari. PS2, GameCube, and Xbox 360 was the prime of console gaming history. But PS1 was so popular, PS2 was king. Yeah, PS2 had the most sales. PlayStation was number 5 on that list. Yeah. I shoveled snow for so long to buy one. I probably did 500 houses. Oh, wow. All right. Oh, man.
Hot stuff! Hot stuff?
Oh, all right. Well, some interesting facts, some interesting conversation. Appreciate you guys throwing in your 2 cents on all of that. Let's do, I'm curious. Let's see what it comes up with this, if it, there we go. All right. Projected estimated sales for Switch 2. That's what I'm curious on. The launch year projected for late 2025. Estimated sales of 10 to 15 million units. In the first 12 months, it's estimated to sell 15 to 20 million. And the lifetime potential by analyst estimates 80 to 120 million units, which, interestingly enough, still would not put it to match PS2. So even if it meets kind of the estimates by in this modern day, the Switch 2 is not expected to beat out PS2. Of course, it's all just theory and, you know. But over how long of a time period? It's saying lifetime potential. Welcome in, welcome in. Velian Dev, good to have you here. We're just chatting, talking about different platforms for playing games, what everybody likes playing on, why you play on different devices as opposed to others. If you have preferences on brand or on, you know, console versus TV, PC, mobile. We're talking about Switch. We're talking about all kinds of stuff. Just platforms, devices. What you know? What are the trends? What are the numbers? What's going to happen? What do people like? It's interesting that mobile is still the #1 platform for gaming. Obviously, it's going to be different genres. That's going to play into it a ton. But very interesting, very interesting. The original, here's another interesting fact. We're talking about the Switch. The original Nintendo Switch has sold over 132 million units lifetime. And the lifetime potential, the estimated projections for the Switch 2, the high end is expected to be maybe 120 million. Obviously, it's just guesswork, analyst work, not guess. But what that is, that's interesting because they're basically saying they're not expecting over the lifetime of Switch 2 to sell as many as Switch. Now, maybe that's because they expect to release a Switch 3 before they get to that number. I don't know. I wouldn't expect that either. Yeah. But I mean, those are still phenomenal numbers. I mean, you still got to be pretty happy with, you know, if you're Nintendo putting out a product that's getting this many pre-sales and, you know, has this much buzz about it before, you know, it's even really close to being released. It's definitely a great position to be in, right? So we're just chatting. If anybody wants to join us live and put your mug on one of these screens next to me, just hit the call-in button at the top of chat, and I'll connect you. You can add you to the conversation. Otherwise, feel free to just reach out and chat, ask questions, throw in your comments, engage to whatever level you're interested in. It's overpriced to many, and the type of games in Nintendo are very niche. Yeah, it's definitely pricey for sure, which, as you were saying earlier, was one of the kind of problems that the PS3 had, right? Was that when they originally released PS3, it was overpriced. Valiant Dev said, I use Linux on PC. Proton has come a long way, and it's not as bad as it was a couple of years ago. So do you play a lot of Steam games then? I'm guessing. Role-playing agreed. They have too many real games for today's gamers. I'm not sure I followed you all the way on that one, Role-playing. I'm sure that was in response to Ludum's comment about the niche games, but gotcha. Yeah, I've never tried to use a Linux system, so I haven't. I can't say I know all the ins and outs of doing that approach, but everything. We were talking earlier about cross platform, and the difference between like PlayStation and Xbox, and all that narrowing a ton. And I think it's the same thing with PC and Mac and Linux. They're starting to get closer and closer. Of course, Apple's always going to hold on to their, you know, I mean, the whole company is designed around everything being their own system and product, all that. But yeah, maybe that's a whole conversation for another session, another day. I can't even talk in my native language. Australian caught by Automad. Automod, thanks for putting it through. Yeah, no problem. You can talk in your own language. It's all good. Super Smash is very niche, and even the new generation might not catch on to it. But it would probably be its best bet to get them onto the system. Super Smash, is that one where they are combining the characters from multiple games, from different Mario or different Nintendo worlds? Yeah, and they fight. Yeah, I mean, it seems like a super popular concept, cool thing these days. I think it's huge. Yeah, would probably be its best to get them onto that system. Metroid is a great bridge for FPS players, especially since the controllers can be used like mice. Interesting. Even then, I think nostalgia is the strongest Nintendo factor. That makes sense. Yeah, I get it. And does Nintendo still have exclusivity to some of those IPs? OS X is just a nightmare. It's basically impossible to target without buying into the ecosystem. Nostalgia is big for them. Yes. They're all Nintendo exclusive. Okay. Yeah. I mean, the whole Mario line is hugely popular, for sure. It's up there. Mine is running CMake and looking at all the errors. I'm not familiar with that, I gotta be honest. That's a whole different kind of fighting game. Oh, I don't know why I'm just sitting here reading the chat like you guys can't read. I don't know. That's why I need like people on here next to me to talk to, because I start running out of things to say and I just start reading. All right, let me read. pretty exciting stream. You know, you guys create the content. You got to write everything, and I'll just sit here and read it like some sort of, bot. I'm a literary bot, and I could even mess up. That would be fun. The Lumphao. That's a whole different kind of fighting game. I could just get one of those. I think I already have one of those voice changer things. I could just turn that on. CMake is a tool used to handle your CXX compilations, so turning your code into libraries or executables. Okay, CMake's deal is, plug in whatever, we'll figure it out. And if you want to be more complex, you can make it more complex. It's nifty as hell because you can use it almost as a package manager. Okay, so I take it then from your comments and your kind of different discussion on system that you're coming at this from a developer perspective. That are you yourself a game developer? Real pain. Some people make good money for services like that. Oh, for like reading? Is that what you're talking about, Royal? That's funny. Right? I can, we can pretend I'm AI. We'll see how many people we can fake out and convince that I'm AI. Put some sort of like little glitch into it a little bit, and then I feel like we'd be turning it into like Max Headroom or something. Who knows that one from the 80s?
Incoming transmission from archived footage.
Boom, 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 boom. Water, water. What can you do with water? You need water for the dishes,
Hydrate.
water for your hair,
Hydrate. Everybody
water
get some
for
water.
the fishes, and water for the clothes that you wear. Boom, 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 boom.
Ba-dum, ba-dum, boom. Thanks for the hydrate, Ludum. Cheers to you and to each and every one of you. Valiant Dev, more like an engineer or an engine network engineer. Very cool. My daily is cybersecurity consultancy, but I just brought a bit of dev. Nice. I think, that's cool. I get that. So definitely an IT guy. Are you, have you dabbled in actual like game dev, or is that sort of an interest, a hobby? I'm just curious. I'm not trying to get you to talk about something you don't want or reveal secrets, but just curious. We like getting to know each other around here, so you kind of unfortunately, unwillingly put yourself slightly in a spotlight just because I know more about these other guys. But I don't want you to feel pressured. I have VS Code open with Game Engine I'm messing around with right now, actually. Very cool. Which game engine are you working in then? Are you in Unity? I love talking about myself and what I work on. Don't worry. Okay. Very cool. Are you, I'm going to guess with VS Code maybe Unity, but I suppose it could be anything still. Myself, I definitely do. Currently doing everything in Unity. Not even close. I'm rolling my own. Oh, I should have maybe guessed that. Wow, that's a big deal. So are you developing your own game engine then? You're actually, rather than developing a game, you're working on developing a game engine, or are you doing both? I guess it would make sense if you're doing both. Make the game, and then whatever tools you need for the game, you're kind of incorporating into a new engine. That's pretty big. That's bold. I know several folks who are attempting the same. That's a lot for sure. But it's cool. Super cool. I like that. I understand why you're working on Linux now. Let's see. Ba-bum. There's that. My plan is to create the engine, make a game with it. The engine itself is so a bleeding edge that it left the knife behind. I'll explain why over a long rambling series of messages. All right, my man. Sounds good. Very cool. Very cool. Oh, let's see. Ludum stepped away. He'll be back momentarily. I feel like I need a snack. I should have made those ham rolls before I sat down to my stream. Then I could be munching on them right now. But I didn't do it. It's a shame. They sound good. Well, welcome in anybody who is new, wandered in. Welcome. My name is Vale with Golden Spotlight. Golden Spotlight. Wow. Yeah. Golden Character Design. Golden Spotlight is our program on Saturday where we put the spotlight on our other indie developer friends out there. So if you are an indie developer like Valiant Dev, perhaps, if you ever want to get on and showcase your work, showcase your game, maybe even your game engine, we would love to talk to you about being a guest on Saturdays. You can check out previous guests. We have a page on our website that has links for all our previous guests, all the full unedited stream sessions are posted on YouTube for anybody over there on the YouTube side who's watching us tonight. You can check out those videos there. Hey, reach out and join our community if you'd like to participate in what we do. Every night is different on here. We're all about game dev. We're all about game dev topics, but every night we come at it from a different perspective, a different angle. And so we mix it up. We have a lot of fun. Good little community. If you'd like to be part of it, hope you'll follow us on Twitch, on YouTube, Discord, wherever. Let me know. We can get you the links if you need it. Let's see. Chatting with Valiant Dev right now, working on a game engine using the Elixir language. Built on Erlang. Erlang is the classic telecommunications platform. So when you used to make phone calls just after switchboards, it would route through Erlang, which ran forever. Wow, that's crazy. So Erlang does all this cool stuff. When it crashes, it doesn't crash. So I figured I'd shop around for native desktop options in Elixir, which wraps it. There's basically nothing, or what does exist uses web templates. So I started digging into how people make things like that. That is cool. Definitely deeper into that tech side, that engineering side than I know anything about. I dabble in APIs and stuff like that. That's about as complex as I get. So let's see. Elixir has a method of interoperability with C, where you can call C code from Elixir. This is huge because now I can use something like Raylib a C game library to invoke game stuff like load textures, models, drawing, event hooks, animations, and Elixir. Cool. I mean, yeah, that's crazy. So, out of curiosity, is this like what propels you to create the engine? Is it just sort of like a passion project that you think, like, man, this would just be so much fun? Is there a monetizable side to it that you're looking to eventually get to, or do you feel like it's going to present something that is not available and out there right now, or all the above? I don't know. I'm curious, like what the kind of motivation and drive behind it is. Sounds like a cool project for sure. Oh. What's everybody else working on? Having fun? I noticed it's gotten kind of quiet, which is okay. Lurk, hang back. I know it's getting late for some folks. Our East Coasters are going up on 11 o'clock at night now. Appreciate everybody being here and hanging out with us. All right, let's see. Boom. Let's see, what else was I going to look? I feel like there was something else I was going to look up on this topic that we've been touching all night on with the platforms. Yeah, you know, the platforms. Another interesting thing about console, coming from a game dev perspective, is like Unity, for example. And I don't know how it is with Unreal. I'll be honest, I'm not sure exactly what the setup is on Unreal. I know we've got some Unreal developers in our audience here, so maybe we'll get some feedback on that. But I know with Unity, like the free version allows you to do web-based games, mobile, PC, you know, all of those types of builds, but not console games. You have to actually upgrade to the paid version in order to do console builds. So it's definitely something that as I grow in development and start putting out bigger releases that I'll move into. But at this point in time, I'm not building anything specifically for console, but I know I do have some of these projects that I want to do cross-platform and be able to do. So it's going to be a big step, you know, having to move from like the free version of the software to the paid. But it's ideally, I would have to do that anyway. That's the hope. You would hope that you would start generating enough income that you would need to be on the paid software, right? Elixir's main draw is its web framework and networking. I want to provide the ability for people to not only make desktop applications quickly and simply, but in general have those be inherently hyper performant and modular. So when you're talking about building a game engine, it sounds like maybe it's going to be more than a game engine, that it's going to be more of an app building.
Enemy bot on attack approach.
Uh-oh. All right, we'll get rid of that one. Oh, it didn't play the second half of my clip. We got the enemy bot approaching, but it didn't destroy him. Oh, all right. I'm going to fix this. Let's fix this. We're going to have to do it manually. Darn. We can't just have the bot sitting there. All right. Let me pull down the... Oh, where's our bot? Where'd he come? All right. I'm just going to start this whole thing over. So it was so cool when when a bot comes in and tries to evade the channel, here's what we get now. Uh-oh. What happened? Uh-oh. Now I'm like stacking these videos. What did I do? Restart. Here we go.
Enemy bot on attack approach.
All right,
Enemy bot has been eliminated.
All right, we took him out. Uh-oh. Now I got, because I
Enemy
hit
bot
it.
on attack approach.
All right, fine. We'll take this one out too. There we go.
Enemy bot has been eliminated.
All right, we got some weird things going on there. I got to fix that. A couple things to clean up with that mess. All right. Let's see. So yeah, all I was saying is it sounds like in addition to a just a game engine, you're actually designing it to be sort of an app engine to embrace more functionality than just game specific type things. It sounds like perhaps when you make a window in C, it pushes the value onto the stack, and that's your window. In Elixir, when you create a window, it should spawn a window process which can be interacted with so as not to break the application if the process fails. So if your window goes down, you just make a new one and put everything back from the last window. It's all isolated processes, every vector to every model animation. Interesting. So I'm not an engineer, so I'm not going to pretend that I follow all that, but it sounds like to me what you're saying is that it's kind of, your objective at least is kind of crash proof, where if there's an error thrown in the code, instead of, that it can just sort of regenerate and pick up where it's going. Maybe I'm totally lost. I don't know. That's where I'm trying to. That's what I picked up. Hopefully, I'm not too far off. It sounds super cool though. Message. I'd wonder why my bot destroyed did not work. That's such a bummer. Want to be able to do whatever you make it do. So if you need a module, which is a button that when you push the button, it pushes a value to a database locally, you can do that. If you want that button to instead linear interpolate 10 pixels to the right instead, separate module. Right. Gotcha. Sort of, mostly. Yeah. Okay. It's versatility. I mean, it sounds super cool. How long have you been working on this project? Just out of curiosity. I think we can computer. I think we can downgrade from red alert. I think we took care of those silence more than readily. Thank you. Let's see. It's about breaking it down into individual systems and then using those systems wherever you like. Yeah. Been working on it since like 2023, but have rewritten a fair bit. Oh, right. I can relate 3 times. I can relate to that. We were talking about at the beginning of the stream. I just released a game, and like, it is such a pain to work on it. Like there's been a few bugs and so forth that I'm having to iron out that have popped up on release, and which is, awful, but it happens. It's normal. And so I'm going in trying to fix and rework things. And man, do I hate working in that code because I started it in 2023. Oh, add. Okay. I'll pick up where I left off, maybe. Everybody else is so quiet. They're like, oh, let Velian talk. Let me put chat back up on the screen. Display, chat overlay, overlay, boom, there we go. All right. There is that. Grab myself a quick brownie, at least a bite. Ooh. All right. Looks like maybe we're back from ad break. So yeah, all I was saying, I don't know where I got cut off, but to sum up, essentially, I hate having to work on my old code because I started it back in 2023, and I feel like I've learned so much since then that my code from back then is atrocious. It's just, there's no ROI in me rewriting the entire program. The game's already done and now released. So I definitely have to keep working on it to fix it and expand it, but I am not going to rework the entire program. So it's just a pain to work in. I love starting new projects because it's nice and clean, and it feels good to start something with a much better structure than I've had with some of my older projects. In general, you rewrite it whenever you feel as though it's not quite stable enough for when you load 4 million models a frame and it lock checks you. Well, I mean, yeah. Wow, 4 million models a frame. Or if I feel as though actually writing the code is frustrating, as I was just talking about, because I want to have writing in the engine feel as good as Elixir is normally. Okay. Yeah. Gotcha. Yep. Cool. Very interesting project. That's pretty awesome. Very cool. And you said you're in Australia, right? Or from Australia originally, or are you in Australia now? Devs aren't going to touch the C and the engine. They're going to touch the Elixir, and that has to write like poetry. Gotcha. Yes, always making cool. Aussies are making cool stuff. All right. Fair enough. Kudos. I mean, if you are in Australia, isn't it like, it's got to be like almost morning, right? I don't know. No. Hey, I'm all turned around. I'm trying to picture, is like, what time of day is it for you? No, it's the Arvo. Is that slang for something? 1:04 p.m. Ah, wow. Yeah, that's a totally different time of day. So you're 7 hours behind us. Is that Arvo is afternoon? All right. I'm learning something. Don't expect me to for sure remember that, because my memory sucks. My memory is worse than my spaghetti code. Now we're like 19 hours ahead. Okay. All right. That makes more sense. That makes more sense. I guess it would be, what, 17 hours? 17 hours ahead. Nice. So yeah, it's that's crazy. So it's Thursday afternoon for you. Okay, got it. A, a gorillion hours. All right. Mm. Well, cool, 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 cool. Um, yeah, it definitely sounds like a cool project. I wish you the best of luck on it, and I'm sure I'll ask you about it again. I feel like, I don't know if have you been in before? Like I said, my memory is worse than my spaghetti code. So it popped up as first time chatter. So I don't know. But sometimes I have a hard time queuing. First time here and chatting. Okay, well, welcome. Appreciate you being here. Hope we'll see you again. Definitely would be curious to hear more about the project as it progresses and how it's going. We love to be able to support other developers. I might not follow everything that you're doing in your project since it's got a lot of a lot to it that I'm not familiar with. I'm more of a Java and C Sharp and Unity. Um, that's where my experiences come from for the most part. Like I said, I've dabbled some when it comes into, you know, APIs and stuff, but that's about it. The version where it's done is actually released as 0.6, but 1.0 is breaking and totally in dev. Gotcha. It's called X-Ray on HexPM. All right. Very interesting. X-Ray. Let's see. All right. Obviously, that is not something that is easily Googleable. Googleable. Is that a term? I asked DeepSeek about X-Ray, and it was pretty accurate about it. Everything I typed in, even though I spelled it exactly like you said it, came up with literally X-rays stuff. Like, you know. Let's see. HexPM, an API server and website for Hex? I don't know. So, see, I'm not even familiar with what that is. Package manager for the Erlang. Okay. Ecosystem. Got it. See, I'm trying to educate myself here somewhat because we're definitely getting away from my knowledge base. All right. So HexPM is the, or Hex is the package manager. So HexPM, is that like a bigger, let's see. Boom. How long have you been in engineering? Ow. Cybersecurity. You can tell you're out of my wheelhouse when I'm trying to understand certain terms or brands or software um, systems, and you're like, oh well, here, let me just explain it this way, and you use more terms that I don't know what they are. I'm just as lost. I'm sorry. Yeah. That's where I'm at. So my apologies. Nothing personal there. It's just DevSecOps for like 2 years. Went into contracting after. Was a Unity dev for ages and ages. Made a museum exhibit for NASA and USSRC in Huntsville at one point back in the day. That's cool. That's cool. Unity dev for a company or independently? And what kind of exhibit for NASA? That's pretty cool. Was the exhibit like, I don't know, like, curious, very curious. That's cool. Some good stuff. Let's see. We made a thing called Neighborhood Earth. I worked on all the interactives, 3D holograms, wall scaled stand on the moon dingos. Cool. Very cool. When I say I worked on, I mean I made them all by myself. Okay. Nice. That's awesome. That's very cool. Oh. Oh, man. Excuse me. Neighborhood Earth, an immersive space experience, award-winning exhibition which combines the latest science with cutting-edge technology to create the ultimate space experience. We talking about the same project here? It's pretty awesome. Neighborhood Earth in Melbourne. Boom. Very cool. Let me put this, let's see. Let's go over here. And working on this project, a starry-eyed graduate at the time. I learned what wage theft was and have been jaded ever since. Ouch. That sentence said a lot. All right, let's try this. Let's put our view screen on. And on our view screen, we're going to put that up. And then let's take down our overlay. And we can see what this is here. Boom. And you worked on the interactives, 3D holograms. And that's super cool. So it's a pretty large exhibit. Does it travel? Is it a traveling exhibit? How long ago was that you did that? I get an impression it was a while back. But this looks This looks relatively new. Oh, there we go. Touring history. So that answers that. It looks like it definitely is moving around. China and Australia. Super cool. Here you got so it's like interface like this. This is you. I don't know. Just curious. I know I'm like pushing. You said you like talking about your stuff. But it sounds like I might also be touching on a sore subject here. Toured in Huntsville, China, Sydney, Melbourne. I only did the Huntsville setup and maintenance after initially making it all work. I made basically $0 for the 10 months of work after expenses. Oh my goodness. Ouch. All right. Well, I'll get this sore spot up off the screen. Sorry. All right. Boom. That's rough. Ouch. Man, I mean that looks like a huge project. That looks like a big deal. I was at Huntsville at the breakfast at the hotel, calling my mother overseas in tears because I was out of money and couldn't afford the bacon and eggs. It was an insane time. That is crazy. Dang. I mean, it's cool to be able to say that you were part of that. Very cool. I'm sure it's great on a resume. But yeah, that's rough. Being a part of something like that and struggling to that extent. I'm imagining that these days, as a network engineer and doing cybersecurity, that maybe that's a thing of the past. You don't have to think about and worry about that kind of stress anymore, I hope. It's the past. I learned a lot once I went above the person managing the pace head to my actual boss. He handed me like $20K on the spot, and I went to Disneyland. Nice. All right, nice. That's funny. And not funny at the same time. Oh, man. Oh, excuse me. I did not sleep well last night, so it's already hitting me here tonight. But all right. Well, it's definitely been nice getting to know you a bit, and hope you'll consider a follow so that we can see you back here again, when we go live and stuff. Pretty much I'm on here 5 nights a week. As I mentioned, every night the format's a little bit different, so you never, it depends which night you join in, you'll get different stuff. Some nights I'm just coding. America's money is annoying. So many bloody coins.
Proximity warning. Humanoid life form identified and has set a course to match our own.
Thank you for the follow. Appreciate that. And it's good to know that, you've enjoyed your time here enough that you want to tag us and venture back this way at some point, we hope. Yeah, I don't know, like coins, I feel like money in general, like it's such a thing of the past now, though. Like I haven't had coins in, gosh, I don't know, years. I don't remember the last time I had any coins. The only reason I've had any cash even lately at all is just some weird little gotta take it from here and transfer it to here kind of a thing instead of digitally. Normally everything's digital these days. It's all, but Oh man. But yeah, good getting to know you a little bit. I was serious about what I said earlier. If you would be interested at some point in time in the future, joining us as a guest on our Saturday program and just talking about what you're developing, kind of showing it off a little bit, you're welcome to. I mean, it is a game dev community, so some of it will be right on par, and some of it might be over some of our heads. But yeah, yeah. When I paid for something with my card and the cashier took my card, I what? I almost reflexively jumped the counter until they explained that this is normal. Not sure how the call-in thing works. Oh, like you can try it if you want to. It's pretty simple. If you just hit call in, then I hit a button over here on my panel, and then it gives you like a link where you can just connect your cam and your, it'll pick up your microphone and your camera and put you on screen. Oh, it's all handled from my end as far as the logistics of it. So, let's see. So I just hit that, and then you should have a little notification invitation on your Twitch, in your Twitch notifications. I don't know how it works. I've never been on the receiving end. Looks like you're there. All right. Let's see. Let's give it a shot. And so then I'm going to put, right now, let's see. Let me add it to the screen. Just go right here. And it should just be guest one. And that's not right. Wrong guest there. Let's see. I'm not hearing anything. Let me try one more thing. Move to slot. Oh, it's got you in slot one. Why is it not coming through? Oh, I know why. Okay, I can fix this. So slot two, and we're gonna switch this to guest two. There we go. So I'll just have to change the name. Don't hear any audio though. So I don't hear you at all if you've been talking this whole time. I haven't heard anything. Let's see. Nothing coming through audio-wise. No, I don't show any audio coming through, so I don't know if your mic is open or if it's for some reason some sort of bad connection. I don't know. I'm not positive, but I'm happy to be patient and keep trying if you want. Let's see. I am going to pop open my overlays so I can change the name. I should have had that opened already, but we'll just go like this. And we'll go here. And then we can change the name. Boom, just like that. And now we have your name on screen. We just don't have a camera or a mic. I'm not sure why. Guess two, yeah, nothing coming in. Bummer. You might have to allow it on your end if you check, I don't know, check in the window. There should be a window that popped up at some point. Looks sort of like, nah, it's all good. I mean, okay. I guess, I guess, do you have, what internet browser do you use? Because I know that sometimes that's a problem. Twitch doesn't the stream share stuff doesn't work well with some browsers. So like I actually have to have two different browsers open. I have to use Firefox in order to connect to Twitch. So I don't know. Might be the issue. Not sure. Kinda difficult, but we gave it a shot. Ah. I mean, you're there. It's just a cover screen though with your profile image, and I got your name up on there. But yeah, you don't use a webcam. Okay, so we wouldn't be able. That's fine. But we should be able to hear you if you have a mic. So that's unfortunate that you're not able to give it access. But anyhow. Oh, it got awfully quiet in here. I don't know. I don't know if we put everyone else to sleep or what. To have you muted? No, I don't have you muted. I've got guest volume at 100%, but there's nothing coming through. There's no audio tracking at all from the source. So typically there's like this, I can show you what it looks like on here. Typically there's this like screen, it looks sort of like a Zoom meeting. If you've ever been like in a team meeting or a Zoom meeting or anything, it's a room that looks just like that. And it has like a button to allow you to, turn on your mic, turn on your cam, anything like that. Let's see, if I go back here and go to the view screen, you should be able to see it. Looks like that. Boom. So you're there, but it shows you as talking. So you see this little symbol right here over yours, because I don't have it on mine. Mine doesn't show any audio coming in for you. Normally it's this little symbol in the upper right corner. So you see when I'm talking, this one's on, but I don't have that for you. Unfortunately. Boom. All right. Well, darn, we tried. Right, bummer. That's kind of funny having me on screen twice. I don't know why. I suppose we'll probably lose this. All right, let's see. I'll see if Firefox works as intended. Okay, sure. Yeah. Twitch is unfortunately not compatible with all browsers. I know that. So, how's everybody else doing tonight? Everybody got so quiet. Anybody still here with us as we try to get Valiant Dev on? Boom. Looks like we're about to jump into an ad break. So we'll be right here when you get back. All right. Let's see. What else we got on? Boom. I don't know. Ludum, you back yet? Or did we lose you for good? Oh, I heard something.
Oh, you did hear something?
Hello, hello. Welcome in.
Hello. Hi. Yeah, welcome to my stream. No, I'm joking. What's going on, mate? How are we?
Good, good, good. Glad you were able to figure it out. So was it the Firefox? Is that what allowed it to work?
Yeah, because I typically roll Vivaldi because Firefox on Linux, whenever you play a YouTube video and you set the volume, it will automatically unset the volume because Linux. Like that, I don't have any other words. It just complicates everything. So I
I
have to
got you.
use some flavor of Chromium, and Vivaldi is the least aggressively trackery. So
Sure. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of Firefox myself. I really only use it for Twitch. That's it. So it's restrictive. But anyway, welcome back from break. Anybody who is with us, we're actually talking with Valiant Dev, who's actually jumped on the stream. And thanks for doing that. It's kind of nice to have another voice
you're
instead
right,
of
mate.
just chat.
Yeah,
And
we're chilling. We're chilling.
yeah, yeah, very cool. And for anybody who couldn't tell, I don't think he's making that up. That is a true, authentic Australian accent. He is
Why would I pretend not to be who I am? What are you trying to pull here? What is this? What have I joined into? You try.
Well, I mean, we can't even see you, so you know. I mean,
Yeah, that is a fair call. Yeah, no, I would be skeptical as well, mate. I would be.
no, it's cool. It's been nice chatting with you about your project. Super cool, interesting project, and like you mentioned that you've been working on it since 2023. How like what's your anticipated time for that 1.0? Like what kind of time frame are you thinking? Obviously you can't know for sure if you're working through dev and bugs and all that, but
Well, my dev cycle is typically tinker a little bit, run into a blocker, like the Linux equivalent of Alt F4, play a little bit of Helldivers for, I don't know, like a month, and then come back, do a little bit of tinker. No, but I do I do occasionally have like really, really fantastic breakthroughs, and one of them I had like 2 days ago. I had a fantastic breakthrough, and that breakthrough was in C. Like whenever you make something and you want to keep it around and not reallocate memory and be a pain, you need to use pointers. You need to use references. Elixir doesn't really know intrinsically how to do that, but it does have a type called reference in Elixir, even though Elixir is kind of like type loosey goosey, if that makes any sense. Everything is a something, but not all somethings are those somethings, if that makes sense. And you're pretty much just matching on what things are probably rather than what they are. And that's the Elixir. Oh, trust, it's fine. Like you scrunch up your face at that, but nah, trust me, mate. Once you start coding that way, it's just like, yeah, it doesn't make sense why a color called blue would be put in as a vector 2 to my position in this function. That doesn't make any sense. So you just don't ever match on it. You match for edge cases where things fall through, rather than when things are expected to potentially maybe be null. So instead of checking for, oh, my vector, does it have an x value? does my vector have a y value? But before any of that, is it null? Is the vector a pointer to... None of that. None of that. We expect a vector 2. And if it is not a vector 2, you're not getting in this function, mate. You go home. You go home. But yeah, in terms of how long this is probably going to take, that breakthrough I had has allowed me to effectively stamp and return a reference to a C pointer to Elixir, which means when I send something back from a returning function from C to Elixir, I keep it around, I do some stuff with it, I change an X value, a Y value, a width and a height, and I send it back. It's not creating a new memory. It's using the same memory of the thing that I've already created with the new values that I've handed it in Elixir. And that is incredibly performant.
Wow, yeah.
Incredibly performant. It's
I
so
mean,
good.
It sounds like it. Wow. Cool.
Yeah, so that's it's good. Yeah, it's good.
Yeah.
I could continue to waffle, but I will let the host of the stream actually speak as opposed to just rambling.
No, I mean, it's all right. I mean, it's cool. So tonight, normally what we do here on Wednesday nights is just chat. And what I really want to do is evolve it from just a chat to where it's more of a literal roundtable discussion where we have folks, like yourself, jump on and we talk topics, we talk dev, and so it's kind of going. That's sort of what I'm looking to do, is have people on here to talk. So yeah, you don't have to feel too weird about it. That's what we're going for. But
I'm not worried. Like, if you give me any indication that it's completely fine for me to ramble for the next 45 minutes, 45 hours, mate. Like, I'm on it. I'm on it. I'm talking. I'm yapping for 45 hours on your stream. And every time you try and interject, mate, I'm just going to be like, oh, and that's what... And then you have no chance. You have no chance of getting in.
All right. Well, I'll keep that in mind. We'll proceed with caution. But
that is the safest bet, yeah.
But no, it's good. I mean, our Wednesday night stream is all about just kind of hanging out and chatting. So, like I said, every night's slightly different. My Tuesday and Thursday streams are pretty much dedicated to just me coding. And then I'm going to do a different project, working on a game on Tuesdays called Exiles Eden. Thursdays, sometimes I mix it up and do a variety of programs, but I think, folks, for anybody watching who does know and is familiar with my projects, I've readjusted my schedule this week, not just for this week, but for moving forward. And I'm going to devote Thursday nights to, I believe it's Dads, which is a game that I have available to wishlist on Steam. It's a tower defense game, and I really want to get some work in on that. I feel like it has been highly neglected, so going to make that sort of the Thursday night focus project. And then Friday night, we have our Game Jelly project, which we're building an in-stream game where players can actually participate and play the game from chat. So you can drop in your chat commands to join the game and to make some choices and so forth. And the game is like a cross between a marble race and a pinball game and a maybe even Mario Kart, but it's all set in an RPG environment with unique attributes and characteristics and stuff going on. So pretty cool game there. That's being developed with a team of us, so you get to see multiple people. You can see like the artwork being designed in Blender, you know, the 3D modeling in Blender. You can see the music being composed. You can see me working on coding, probably the least interesting thing to watch, but that's how the Friday night stream goes. And then, as I mentioned earlier, we have guests on Saturdays. Not every Saturday do we have a guest, but we're trying to get to that point. So to show off their games, their projects, that kind of thing. So cool. So Helldiver, huh? That's your that's your big play game these days?
Well, have that's not entirely the case. I've actually been playing a considerable amount of Kiwi Clicker.
Okay.
And like Helldivers had a patch. They added some new stuff, so I've been trying that out. But I don't know. I don't think I'm that impressed with the latest
Ooh.
patch, because every single bug that I have reported like 4 months ago still in the goddamn game, still not even on their radar. They don't even know that. I don't feel seen
Wow.
by all of the effort and work I've done in finding, like, because I play the game in it, like, if you were to play with me and you saw me wearing things that are completely non-meta, like with a loadout completely non-meta, and you heard me say the words, "Hey mate, I'm gonna roll a clown build today," what would your gut instinct be in that exact situation of hearing someone say, like, you're going into one of the most difficult missions, you kind of really want to actually complete the mission, and you hear one of your team say, "I'm gonna do a bit of a clan build today"? What?
Well, I got to be honest, I'm not familiar with the game, so I might not be the best person to answer that question. But yeah, maybe there's somebody else out here who's been playing it and has had the same experience. It sucks when you have a game that you love and then they do an update that takes it backwards. That's never good. Uh-oh, did we lose you?
No, I pressed
okay.
the mute audio instead of the
Okay.
unmute mic button. So I
Gotcha.
lost you for a second. I lost
Oh,
you
I
due
gotcha,
to my
gotcha.
own patented Australian stupidity. Uh,
Nah, not at all. No, just yeah, just saying that it's it's tough when a game or an app that you enjoy does an update and they basically make it worse. That's never fun, never cool. Um,
yeah,
I,
it's like, don't get me wrong. It is a good update. They've added
okay,
something that everyone's been kind of really, frothing for. Like, they really wanted some kind of update. But like, there's still so many niche little bugs of interactions between objects that should never really be interacting. For example, smoke, smoke grenades and like the Tesla tower, for example, like they interact really well. Like, most people, whenever they see, something that whenever they walk near it is going to immediately kill them, they will destroy it, even if it's a friendly Tesla. By the way, if you play Helldivers and you're in chat, if you destroy friendly Tesla towers that are beyond 30 meters away, shame on you, mate. Shame on you and your family, mate, because they are doing nothing wrong. But smoke grenades, when you throw them at the base of Tesla towers, what happens is, since the Tesla tower is uh, like like an object that can see, for example, a sentry or an enemy or a player, what happens is the logic ticks that because now it can no longer see, it can no longer target, which means the Tesla tower, now that it's in smoke, it can't zap you,
mm,
which is good. But nobody knows this. Nobody understands, because no one brings smoke. I bring smoke pretty often, And every time I do bring smoke, people are just like, "Wow, I didn't know you could do things with smoke and Helldivers. I thought it was just like a joke." But no, you can play the game in like very specific and unique ways if you really put in the work.
There you go. Tips, gameplay tips right here.
Yeah, don't get them from me, mate. Do not get them from me. I've got how many hours do I have in this game? 815.5 hours in the game. Do not take tips from me. It is bad advice. Just bring the meta. Don't change. Don't do anything unique. Become a cog in the machine. Get the mission done, and do it every single day. So I can come back and play later and do something fun and unique.
Yeah, I've never played, so I can't really chime in too much on that game. My game of late, I'm definitely a different genre. My game of late has been Anno 1800. I like the kind of 4X style game. I'm kind of holding off. I haven't gotten Civ 7 yet, but one of these days I'm sure I will.
Yeah, those games to me, like I absolutely love those games. I love 4X strategy games. I adore like the grand strategy and all of that. I fucking hate playing them, man. I hate playing them. I just watch them. Nah, I just watch other people play because I don't have time to sit down and micromanage every single it.
Sure.
I've got too much ADHD, mate,
Gotcha.
to manage like a grand strategy, because I like to start from scratch every single time I play a game. And in a grand strategy game, you make a save and you come back to that save like 4 times over the week. But I've like the second I step out and I step back in, it's like it's like when it's like seeing a hamburger lying on a table in a McDonald's and being like, "Oh, that's like a burger, but it was your burger, but like now there's like another burger next to it and you don't know if it's like someone else's burger at this point." So you kind of just feel like really confused, and you'd rather just get a new burger, if that makes sense.
That is a great analogy. I totally get where you're coming from on that. I mean, I do feel that if I step away from a game for too long, like of that type, I mean, I definitely do that. So if I'm playing like a game of Civ or something like that, and I'm progressing through, and I jump back the next day, I'm fine. I pick up right where I left off and what have you. But if I let it sit for a few weeks, and then I'm like, oh, I got to get back to playing now. I haven't played in weeks. Let me play. And I open up that game. I'm just sort of like, I'll just start a new one, because I know. I mean, you described it so well. It's great. That's great. Yeah.
Yep, the hamburger's gone cold. You don't have a microwave. You sit. If you did microwave it, it would just get too soft or too hot on the bun, and you can't hold it anymore. So you might as well just either eat something else or just order a new burger. That's exactly what I'm talking about.
Right. Yeah. That's a good picture painted, for sure. That's hilarious. Yeah, I mean, to be honest, that's why I don't play a lot of games these days. It's pretty funny because the more I dived into game development, the less I played. Because it's like every time I'm playing, I'd almost rather be creating my own game, my own world, my own environment, than just going through another run of somebody else's. I still enjoy playing games and I still do them, but Honestly, compared to what it was in the past, it's my gameplay has gone way down.
I 100% 100 gorillion% agree with exactly what you have just said. Is that yeah, like learning how to like write code has ruined my life in ways that I did not expect. It is not only it is not
Right.
only sapped the joy out of things that I used to love, it has also sapped the joy out of things that I didn't know I would love until I picked them up and started trying them and thought about code.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, it's and it's interesting too because code can be like both the most frustrating and annoying thing and the most like intriguing, interesting and rewarding thing like at the same time. it's, I don't know if you know where I'm coming from, but it's sort of like you get in this moment and you get so frustrated, or at least I do at times, where I'm just like I cannot figure this out, and this should have been a 5 minute bug fix, and instead I've spent the last 2 days poring over this code, and I cannot see what I'm doing wrong. And but then that moment when you find it, that moment when you solve it, or those moments where you're like, hey, you know what, I'm gonna try this is a new approach, and you just drop it in and it works, is like it's such a good feeling. Oh yeah.
I consistently in the Elixir Discord, I consistently talk about the like the concept of not writing code makes you like probably the best software engineer that has ever lived. And I say that as a joke 9 times out of 10, but it's actually true, and I will explain why. So every single day, I start my I have my coffee, you know, I sit down, I watch a couple of YouTube, a little bit of brain rot, a little bit of the YouTube reels, you know, scroll through like 400,000 of those. Nah, like what I do is I start my morning, I go through my morning routine, and then if I kind of feel like writing code, I'll write code. But the thought was there. The thought was, oh, yeah, do I want to write some code? And now your brain is thinking about code, which is good because you're isolated from the actual source. And now you're in this hypothetical land where everything works completely fine and every implementation that you put in is working completely fine. And you still haven't even touched your code yet.
Right.
You've got up the shops. It's been 7 hours out of the day already. You've had a pie, you've had like 4 coffees, and you sit down at your VS Code and you've thought about solutions to the one thing that was blocking you all day.
Yeah.
And the one line of code you write not only fixes your problem, but you've already like set up all of the contingencies for all of the other problems that are going to come up, like possibly out of consequence of writing that like one line or one module out of the code. But you can really like sit down and hash out like heaps in a row. Like you can have one day where you're just like, okay, I'm going to spend 3 hours on this, but I'm going to do it right at the tail end of the day after I've had like a really fantastic day, and I'll think about this problem. Oh, how would that, you know, fit in with that problem? And then you've written like a massive breakthrough to a problem that you might have had for months, and you would have like sat there changing one variable, recompiling. It breaks. Changing one line of code, recompiling. Break that cycle. Just disconnect yourself and
Yeah.
just chill. Just
Yep.
take a chill time. Because we're doing
Yeah.
this for fun. And if you're not having fun, what's the point?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I frequently, when I get stuck on something, will go for a walk and just, it's supposed to clear my head and get away from the problem, but typically still thinking about it on my walk. But yeah, there's so many times where it's like I'll spend, hours trying to solve a problem, not figuring it out, not finding the issue, and then I go for a walk, and while I'm walking, it's like, oh, I got it. I got it. So, yeah. The only problem I have with waiting till the end of the day to code, from my perspective, is I tend to be very, not that this is good. I'm not saying this is good, and I'm not encouraging anyone to think this way. Quite the contrary. But I tend to be someone who feels accomplished or feels good about my day based on like boxes that I can check, things that I've accomplished in the day. If I've accomplished a lot, if I feel accomplished, it was a great day. And if I didn't accomplish much, then it wasn't a great day, which again, not a good mindset, but it is the way it is. So if I push my code to the end of the day and I get stuck on something, then I don't want to go to bed because I'm like, I can't end on this note because it's going to ruin my whole day. Whereas if I go to bed after, having one of those big moments where you're like, okay, let me drop all this in, let me drop this in. And, you run it, everything runs perfectly. And you're like, great, I knocked out these things off my list. It's all running well. Awesome. I can go to bed feeling accomplished. I don't know. So
Yeah,
it's just
that,
me
I think
ranting.
that's where like the goalposts of the Australian mindset. And where are you from? I didn't actually, not actually, like America.
Yes, I am in Las Vegas, actually.
You're in the big Vegas. You're in the big gambling. Um, yeah, I and I think most Australians rate their day based on how hot it is. If it's a hot day, if it's a hot, it will be a hot day. Like 9 times out of 10, it's gonna be a hot day. It's gonna be a terrible day. But that doesn't define what makes the day a good day for us. We calculate our good day based on just the amount of good that we can do like during the day. So like part of the reason I go up and I have my brekkie, steak, bacon, and cheese pie. I get my oat milk latte with 2 sugars. It's because the bakery ladies absolutely love me, and they would be distraught if I did not rock up and go through my routine of ordering the same thing every single day, asking them how they're doing. You know, and it's just you gotta disconnect. I think before like you even start to code, and don't end your day on code either. Maybe like honestly, like I said, the less you code, the more you code. If that makes sense. I'm not smashing out the entire application in one day. I'm
Right.
writing a little bit over the course of like maybe a week, but it's written so like thoughtfully of how like not only to my specific use case, but oh, what if someone wanted to make like a banking app out of this?
Right,
Like
right,
just
right.
complete
Yeah.
complete edge cases, and you're not sitting there looking at the code and being distracted while you're thinking these. You're sitting there eating your steak, bacon, cheese pie in a beautiful sunny day with your flip flops on, sipping your coffee, looking at the cockatoos, at the gum trees, while a bunch of kids are screaming, walking out of the shop next to you. That makes you angry.
No, I mean, you make an excellent point when you touch on the fact of like being able to write code that's modular, that you can drop in and out of multiple projects or extend to different things. It's all good. I hear everything you're saying. I mean, you're definitely good. I definitely think my mindset is off kilter at times for sure. I've reached a point in an age where I'm like frantically trying to hold on to uh, you know, what little time I have, and I'm just trying to make the most of it. And so I'm trying to get as much accomplished as I can. And it's not always necessarily the best, but I enjoy what I'm doing. I enjoy my days. I feel very blessed. Ludum, welcome back in. Glad you finally made it back. Yeah, we have Valiant Dev joined us on here. Doesn't have a webcam, so it's audio, but that's okay. And very cool getting to know him a little bit and just kind of talking shop a little and we strayed away from the whole like gaming platform thing, and we've definitely been talking a little bit more about his project, which is creating an actual engine, and also just sort of talking about kind of attacking coding in general, which all still falls into the umbrella of behind the scenes of game dev. So it works for me.
Hey, Ludum, do you write in C or C++ at all?
Ludum does blueprints in Unreal Engine, visual scripting. I'm sorry, I know that question was asked to you, so I shouldn't answer it for you. I apologize. I just know the answer. I feel like I know one.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, I feel that. Does Unreal Engine typically run into the issue of segmentation fault, core dumped, or is that just a like writing it raw situation?
Good luck with that question, Ludum. Okay.
Look, mate. The fact that you have no idea means that no, Unreal Engine typically handles it, which is good. I'm so thankful that you like. There is not someone as absolutely like jaded as me that has to deal with this problem. There's I saw this funny meme, and it's like, of the teacher of the student passing a note to another student, and then like the person at the end of the line reads the note, and it's like x is equal to 3, and then like 500, the meme is like 300 by like 19,000, and it's like so many different students that this note passes between, and it's like every different step of like the compiler and all of the different steps of the application, and then the person at the end unwraps the note and it just says segmentation fault, core dumped, and it's like, where along the line did the note change? Like nobody knows.
I can read code and semi-understand it, but writing it is extremely difficult. Throw in a visual node and I can work with it to some extent. You'll get there. You get there if you want to be. Ludum is a very skilled 3D modeler. He does some very cool art and modeling work. And is working with me on, we're working together jointly on a few different projects. And so, very cool. Awesome guy, awesome work, highly skilled. So don't let him fool you. Just because he doesn't do a ton of programmer, he's still top notch. Not everybody can be. I'm just messing. I don't even know where I'm going with that sentence.
Nah, dude. Nah, we got to ego check him, man. We this is something that people in America don't have, but Australians, it's like a cultural phenomenon. If you want to right now, look up. This is real. Tall poppy syndrome, which is where like we effectively ego check people that might be, starting to get a little bit, oh yeah, no, I am pretty good. It's like, no, you trash like the rest of us. Like you go check that.
Well,
Oh, it's so good.
well, I want to thank Daru Lives. Thanks for the follow. Appreciate you coming in and joining us. And yeah, we always get the big alert when somebody's following us. I think though, computer, we can downgrade back to condition blue. I think we should go. It's late. We need to go back into dark mode too. I like that. Yeah, welcome in, Daru. Good to have you here. Welcome. We're just chatting. We're talking game dev behind the scenes, hanging out. Welcome in. Welcome in. What? I don't know. I don't even know how to ask the question. Like, are you? What's your angle when it comes to gaming? Are you just a gamer? Are you a developer? Are you a somebody who's interested in that? Just curious, not trying to force you into the spotlight, but what's your developer of choice? You're funny, little. So we're just chatting with Velian Dev, who also first time in here. And so we're just hanging out, talking game dev, talking about programming, very cool stuff. So it's just an open call in, so anybody can join us here on the stream to hang out and chat. It's very cool. Ooh, you're an artist. Very cool. And do programming too. 2D, 3D, what kind of art do you like to do? Oh, didn't mean to cut you off, Velian. If I did, I was.
Oh, it's completely fine because I've got my little dog on my lap and I'm like muting my mic whenever I hear it going like trying to make some noises, you know.
During our Game Jelly project that we do on Friday nights on our stream, our music composer for the project, he's got a dog that snores so loud. It's hilarious. We love that. It's hilarious hitting to hearing the dog. It was so much so that we actually decided to develop a dragon character in our game, name it after his dog, and we want to use his actual snoring for the dragon snoring. It's going to be great. It's going to be so
Like
cool.
my dog, she's a little dog. Like she's fitting on my lap and she's basically standing up. But she snores like she's a 400-pound man in an ethyllic coma. Like that's how she sounds, dude. She's so loud.
Yeah, that's Frumples. Frumples sounds that way too. Nice recall on the name there, Ludum. Awesome.
Oh, Willow is a Shih Tzu cross cavoodle.
Say that 12 times really fast. All right. Let's see. So Dar Lives does 2D, especially pixel art. Very cool. Awesome. So have you done, you said you do some programming too. We've kind of been talking a lot about programming tonight. Are you working on any project now or in any kind of game engine right now? That's kind of come up. I'm just trying to circle back a little bit to some of the stuff we've talked about as we welcome in someone new.
Let's see what he's doing is he's politely vibe checking you to see if he can protect you from talking to me. Because if you
No.
talk about code, we're gonna have a great discussion.
No, not at all. Not at all. Not worried. That's funny. No, like I said, I mean, I think it's great that you wanted to just jump on and hang out because that's what Wednesday nights are really meant to be about. This is the vibe I'm looking for on a Wednesday night. hopefully we'll start building the community, and we'll have more people who want to hang out and jump on stream, and we can turn it into kind of a where we can really hash through a specific topic and stuff like that. Let's see. Hold on. Boom, boom. Yes, that's fine. Let me allow it. Here you go. I think you should be able to post it. If there's a problem, I'll let it. I should be able to let it through, authorize it. So, Velian, there you go. Ludum's asking you a question. Do you specialize in C? He wasn't here for a lot of that earlier conversation. So.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, so... Look. See, yeah. Yeah. Do I need to elaborate? Well, I will elaborate, but do I really need to? C is one of those languages that I did learn like a fair bit of like raw C in university. But it's not something that you typically like use in your day to day, like especially if you're working for a business that's doing like web components or like like apps or something like that. So it kind of fell by the wayside until I started using Elixir because it's the coolest thing since sliced bread, and it interrupts with C, but you can just completely fine, like no problem at all, hand it C++ compiled shared library, and that works fine as well, which means I get to use C++ as a wrapper for the C, kinda, so I can not touch C as much as humanly possible. Yeah. It is a great language if you understand memory management and the ins and outs of the latest version of C, but oh my god, man, like there's so much that you just need to understand about memory, the stack, the heap. Whenever you make a char pointer, it's like, should I have made a char pointer? Should I have made it const? Should I have just made this a char array? Do I need to create a function to handle this char pointer? What if it does become a char array? There's just so many little.
So
God,
you might be able to tell from that answer, since you were going for a yes/no answer, that that Velian
No.
Valiant Dev is an engineer, even more so than a programmer. So yeah, it might have come through then.
The thing I actually specialize in is probably networking. Is probably actually like networking.
Gotcha.
So Elixir Elixir is the language that I'm using right now, which kind of makes networking. So if you were to make like a TCP socket client and server in C or C++, it would be very, very unsafe if you handed it something that it did not expect. So if you tried to pass a packet, oh, this bit's out of line, and you don't have a way to handle that, for example, all of a sudden, oh, your server crashed, oh, your client crashed. But Elixir, oh baby, Elixir, oh my good. Elixir makes it so that whenever like you spawn like a server or you spawn a client, it's managed by an quote-unquote application that has a bunch of different processes that you interop. It's difficult to explain because it's completely different to object-oriented programming because it's a functional programming language, and also the data is immutable. Yeah. So in Elixir saying X is 1 and then Y is X, you're not setting Y to X. What you're doing is you're setting Y to the evaluated result of X, which would be 1. And then if you were to say X is equal to Y now, it will set it to the evaluated result of the previous term, which would set X to be equal to Y, which is equal to 1. Or rather, just X is equal to 1. you're not making a like you're not changing the existing X there. You're creating a completely new X every single time, but it's completely fine because it's compiled that way. It handles it. It loves it. It loves it It loves it completely fine. It's very happy when you when you write code like that.
Well done, Ludum. Ludum's like, layman terms, please. He's like, whoa, surprisingly, I understood that. That's good. That's funny.
I'm so thankful because that was a terrible explanation, man. Like it was a completely like separate explanation for something that I thought about halfway through. But
That's all right.
yeah,
I think I just
that is
leveled
kind
up.
of
Nice, Ludum. Very cool. Very cool. Uh, nice. There you go. Oh man. So Dara lives. Sorry, I know I'm switching the subject here slightly, trying to also include Daru, but I who mentioned you're working on projects in Godot, but nothing crazy yet. So that's awesome. That's cool. Everybody uses different tools, different sources. You know, here you got Valiant Dev who's talking about Elixir, and you've got you know, Ludum who works in Unreal using blueprints. I myself am Unity. You know, everybody uses different tools, and yet what's awesome is that even with all these different approaches, all the different skill levels and perspectives, we can all create very unique and cool things that are appreciated by the community out there at large. You know, that's what's so cool and what I love about doing this kind of program and just sort of getting to know other developers and other people in the community is it's very cool to um, you know, very cool to get to know people who are contributing to such a unique, I don't know, like community. I think it's so cool to be able to create so many different unique things that can appeal to so many different types of people. I love game dev. I'm so excited about it. It's a passion for me for sure. Let's see.
what I really want to talk about is Godot. I want to talk about Godot a little bit.
Okay.
Specifically GD script and how I don't get it. I don't get GD script. So they've made their own like happy little scripting language for their engine. It's good, it's great, but like at the point you're writing GD script, you could be using Python or some other like more well-known like I say well known, but not in the context against Python. But like most games are going to be using Lua, right, for their scripting in their game engines. For example, the default engine that uses Lua, the engine that King made, the guys that made Candy Crush. Uh, Goodness knows that Gary's Mod is a very, very popular game that uses Lua for most of its scripting, although you can hand in C assemblies, I think. Probably not, but maybe. Uh, but Godot is really, really fantastic in just how modular it is. Because if you're like me and you're a snarky little bastard and you don't really want to use GD script, you can just download a module to use Lua in Godot as opposed to you know, GD script. They've like the second that Unity had the incident, we all know the incident that made everyone want to move to Godot. They they already had a little bit of C sharp like API to be able to use, but they really started pushing for it the second that Unity really played their
Hmm.
hand, became like a publicly
Interesting.
traded company.
Yeah. I think the incident, we don't talk about that. Yeah, you can use some languages other than GD script is really handy. Yeah, I didn't realize that they were working to develop that further. That is cool. That's interesting. One of the reasons, kind of ties into this. One of the reasons why I chose Unity in the first place to work with was because of the coding language. So, and I think like Godot and some of these other like open source or proprietary game engines are meant to be geared towards people who don't necessarily have a coding background. Whereas, like for me, I was coming from a Java background. And so to transition from Java into C sharp in Unity just seemed to me like it was just so easy. It was so simple. They mirror each other so closely that was one of the big reasons why I went with Unity when I first started learning the whole game engine side.
I've done my absolute best to attempt to get away from C sharp as much as humanly possible in Unity. I've gone out of my way to create like a network transport protocol written in C sharp just so I can hit an Elixir endpoint to do my code for me. Like it's so the fact that I can't return a void out of a pattern match switch case statement in C sharp, dude, the language is so anemic. It's so broken. And all of the null checks, all of the is nots, man. Like, come on, dude. Like, if I'm handing something to a function, let it be what I hand to the function. Don't let it be something else. This is why Elixir is the best language in the entire universe, because it has pattern matching.
All right. Well, we've opened a whole nother can of worms now.
Yeah,
Oh man.
speaking of opening cans of worms, I'm getting pretty hungry, and I'm due a date at the bakery actually.
That sounds like an awful bakery to me, man.
No, dude, what they do is they actually have like they've got like a garden center next door, and they've actually set up like a really good like trade deal with them. So they get them, dude. They're not like old worms. They're like fresh. Dude, they're so fresh. Like if you've ever been to a fish and like if you've ever been to like the fish and chip shops in like the UK, where they like have like fresh battered like local shark, like like we have battered flake here, is like a battered gummy shark, and it's like a rare delicacy here. Like in this specific, like this fish, like this bakery, they do worms. They just do worms on
I
their own, raw.
All right, because I'm not I've never been to Australia and I don't know. I can't tell how much of what you're saying is pure comedy and how much of it is genuinely real. I'm so lost.
Yeah,
It's
this is part of our culture as well. It's a thing that is called taking the piss. So what you do is you say something completely outlandish, and then you double down. And not only do you double down, you throw in some things that might be true, some things that could be true. And then by the end of it, the other person is so confused whether or not you were actually serious. They believe half of it, and believing half of something stupid is way funnier than believing all of something stupid.
oh my gosh, that's good stuff. That's awesome.
It's
dude.
very funny, yeah.
It's
But no,
kudos.
we don't eat
That
worms.
that
We
was
don't eat
good.
worms, but I am hungry, so
Fair enough. I hear you. Oh my gosh, good stuff. Well, it is on our end. I don't know where you're at, Daru lives. We're starting to get kind of late for us. I know for Velian, it's mid-afternoon. He hasn't had lunch, so we can let that go. We might have to start wrapping things up on this for the night. I hope that you'll 1 a.m. Whew, you must be East Coast time, maybe. Oh, But yeah, I hope you'll drop us a follow. Come check us out. I'm streaming 5 nights a week, but not every night is like this. Some nights I'm coding. Some nights we're working on a team project. Some nights we bring in guests and interview them about their projects. We do all kinds of cool stuff. But the biggest thing that we do is just try to support each other as developers, encourage each other in what we're doing. And so would love you to be part of the community. Come on in back to us another time. Both of you guys and anyone else who's here watching, or anybody who's watching this on VOD after it all wraps up. We get a lot of views. So for those of you, if you've been watching and enjoying what we're doing, I hope you'll drop that follow and come on back. Now on YouTube too. It's just started doing that last week. It's interesting trying that angle. So very cool.
I'm so sorry this is going into VOD because you're gonna have to edit out like 98% of my tangents, mate. They're so
No,
long
no.
and so Australian that you will get demonetized.
I do
You
not.
will.
No, I do not. I actually don't edit any of my VODs. So I try to just keep everything unedited. I don't have the time to go through and edit all of this content. It's way too much. Besides, it's all good. I genuinely appreciated talking with you, getting to know your project. And I'm very sincere when I say I hope you'll come back and tell us more and catch us up on your progress, because we really do love that. Dara Lives, thank you very much. I appreciate that. I put a lot of work into this setup. I've still got a lot to do. We've got a lot to create in here. For anybody who hasn't seen it, this is a fully interactive space where we can do all kinds of cool things. We can check our little communication center over here. We can go over and watch little clips. I don't know if I don't know, Ludum, do you want to, because my triggers don't work the same way. If you want to trigger your normal Ludum just to show off our little clips.
Incoming transmission from archived footage.
Boom, 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 boom. Water, water.
The little hydrate song.
What can you do
So.
with water? You need water
Well,
for
thank you
the
very
dishes, water for your hair,
let's
water
see.
for the fishes, and water for the clothes that you wear. Boom, 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 boom.
All right. Thank you for the hydrate there, Ludum. Cheers to everybody. And yeah, thank you all for coming in. I guess, here's the fun part. I guess what we should do is wrap. Right? Oh, man, my thing's not loading fast enough. Timing's off. Oh, yeah. Let's go. When he says that's a wrap, it means the show's about to end. And while it might seem like crap, we don't mean to offend. Now we can all take a nap and begin to mend from hearing this here rap and hope it don't become a trend. Cause Vale, he's no rapper, he's an ordinary bloke. Might be bad, might be sad, but in the end he's just a dad. In his robe, looking dapper, can't resist a dad joke. Over the top, and he just won't stop. Thinking that deserves a mic drop. It's still funny to me even after all this time. I love it. All right. Well, thank you all. Everybody have a wonderful night. Hope to see you back here shortly. Had a lot of fun. Thank you all. Take care. Best wishes. Stay safe.